Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Capitalist Investor. As always, you got me, Diamond Hands D, and Tony the Tiger. What's going on, man?
What's up?
How are we doing?
Oh, man, it is. I think we're turning a corner here in Cleveland with this weather. I'm excited.
Yep.
It's, as of today, it's going to be 70. It will be like 45 tomorrow, but you know what? We've got a couple days under our belt of some
Cleveland fake spring.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. I'm here for it. The sun's out. We'll talk a little bit about this a little bit later in the show, but I want to bring it up. But we will be having a contest. We got some capitalist investor swag.
Yep, had a little office clean out.
Yeah. We found some mugs. They're Yeti like travel mugs.
Yep.
Maybe they might be knockoffs, but they're nice. I travel with mine nearly every day to work.
I got one.
So yep. But we'll be talking a little bit about that later. So today, we were off last week, so we're just going to have a general market conversation about, there's been a lot of volatility, what's going on, how do we navigate through this, and the rationale, maybe behind the curtain for, our investment team and what they do and what I'm seeing based on the last several years and the last several months of like how everything's rolling out. Maybe we'll have, I'll probably talk about a few stocks that our team recently picked because I was on Clayman Countdown on Fox last week, and they said, "Hey,
you're looking good."
They asked me to have a general market outtake and some or outlook, and then they wanted a couple stock picks, and they used none of my stock picks. So guess what? Everyone listening today is going to hear about them. Yep. So, and then we'll hit. Guess what? It's March Madness. Whether you like basketball or not. It's always going to be a topic, filling out your brackets. I don't even know if I did a bracket this year.
To be honest with you, it was my favorite time of the year.
Oh, it was so much fun.
I was into it. I would take Friday at least off of work to watch games all day. Yeah, I was super, super into it. And in the last, I'd say 10 years for sure, but specifically the last 5 years, I barely pay attention.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with how fast they turn over the players. It's like, how can you get excited when you just have a new squad every year? They can go to the NBA after 1 year of college, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it
ruined college basketball.
It sucked the wind right out of that whole thing. So it's hard to even keep up, right?
Yep.
So.
But that's the beauty of March Madness. You don't really need to know much. You can fill out a bracket,
right?
And still
pick
be
your
right.
favorite color, pick your
Exactly.
favorite team, pick your favorite city, and you got a chance.
Yep.
Right. So, all right. So, let's talk about a little bit of the recent volatility. So, I'll kind of kick it off this way. Just a few months ago, when the analysts were coming out for 2025, what's going to happen with this market? Nearly every analyst was saying, "Hey, we're going to be up, mid single digits, if not double digits, right? Like a repeat of the last 2 years."
Yep.
Fast forward 3 months, and we're in correction mode in the S&P and the Nasdaq, right? We're in the realm. I think the Nasdaq is definitely in.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, the biggest catalyst of this whole thing is Trump's tariffs, right? We still feel that the tariff threat is short-lived. He's trying to accomplish something with every company, or not, I want to call them companies, but every country he's dealing with, right, to get a better deal for us for long-term growth. The short-term pain will exist because there's just a lot of air to come out of this market. The S&P has been up over 20% the last 2 years. Unfortunately, it has been driven by 7 stocks both years, or maybe 10. You can maybe group in 10. That's not normal, right? And, as I'm having client reviews right now, it's not a fiduciary thing to say, "Hey guys, I'm going to put you in 7 stocks and here we go," right? Let's hope 6 out of 7 work. It needs to be that's what our investment team is here to do, is to have a balanced portfolio of things that are in favor, out of favor, because guess what? Things rotate. You know what one of the better performing asset classes this year is? International.
Yeah.
it has been a dog the last 2 years because everyone's focused on domestic. Like international is up, I think, 10% or something like that this year. So again, I believe in mean reversion in a lot of different things, whether it's life, the market, everything, right? So that is what we're starting to see. I'm in the camp that, we haven't had an inner year correction in nearly 2 years, and that's a 10 to 20% pullback. Mm-hmm. It's not they normally happen every 12 to 18 months. Is that we'll see some type of pullback, and we've gotten close the last 2 years, but we never entered the period, right?
Right.
And every news feed is just talking about recessions right now, but it is being driven by the tariff talk. So I feel that the first half of this year is definitely a shakeout period, and then the next year, or the second half of this year is going to be more of a positive market, in that we finished up for the rest of the year. However, and I'll kick it over to you, D. But I can't rule out a recession. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that, we had a recession under Biden, and it was shallow. Mm-hmm. It was down barely 1% both quarters, but it was technically a recession, but didn't feel like it, right? And I feel like that's what's going to happen if they're expecting a negative GDP this next coming quarter. At least the Atlanta Fed is coming out and saying that we're going to be down 2.5% or something. So we'll see. What do you got, D?
Yeah, I think whenever the market gets, I don't want to say overvalued, but maybe overinflated, you always, people are looking for excuses to sell off, basically. And I think the tariff talk has lined up perfectly with that. So it's kind of just an unknown fear out there that is kind of causing the sell-off, but we don't really specifically know what these outcomes are going to be.
Yeah, the market doesn't like uncertainty.
Exactly.
That's the big problem. One thing we should be concerned about, or I'd say, well, we definitely need to be concerned, but a thing I feel like it will be coming up in the near term is the recalibration of Trump's tax laws, right? They're going to sunset at the end of this year unless something is done. And if nothing happens, I've talked about this several times, but if we'll revert to the Obama tax laws, and everyone's going to be paying more taxes, specifically business owners, all of us, the marginal tax brackets are going to expand again.
Yep. And
I feel like a deal is going to get done. We have a majority in all the seats, the House, the Senate, presidency, things like that. So I feel like we're gonna have that, but it's not. It takes only a few votes to turn it the other way, though, too, because everything's pretty tight. But when it comes to the market, because we don't know what it's going to do, and I feel that these tariffs are a negotiating game. The old saying is, time in the market is greater than timing the market, and I feel that these tariffs are a very short-lived posturing play, and when Trump comes out and says, "Hey guys, I was just kidding," you're going to want to be in the market that particular day and probably the week thereafter.
Exactly.
Right, and that is that's why being in the market is better than timing the market, because we don't know when this dude. I know he likes finding microphones everywhere he goes, but you never know what he's going to say. Yeah. Right, so. The market has been pretty not as volatile because he hasn't talked about tariffs in a week, right? So, but going back to the recession, though, I feel like that, talking to business owners, Mark, if he were here, he would have some more color on it, because it's like an EO and YPO and things like that. But he's said it on TV. He said it to us in the investment team that a lot of small business owners they're in a holding pattern until they get clarity on these tariffs. They don't want to spend money or don't know how to allocate their money if they don't know where we're going. Right. So Trump knows this, right? He knows what he's doing. It just looks like he's just, firing from the hip. I'd like to believe that he knows what he's doing. I shouldn't put it such a rubber stamp on it, but I feel like he knows what he's doing. But these tariffs are interesting because it might not just be about money. When he was on the campaign trail, he talked about cracking down on fentanyl. This is a humane thing, not a monetary thing. He goes, our fentanyl is coming into this country and it's wrecking us. We have an increasing drug problem. Mexico and Canada, bolster up your side of the stuff. Stop. If I can see lower amounts of fentanyl being seized at the border, you guys will get an attaboy and I'll help with the tariffs. That's part of this negotiation. No one talks about it.
Yep.
But that was one of his agendas, and he did bring it up. But the media is not going to really talk about it. It's not fun and sexy. But immediately, what the Mexico and Canada did was add 10,000 Border Patrol agents across our borders to help solve this.
Yep, and it's a huge problem, right? So. It's a border, so there's countries on both sides, so both sides can be helping. To be honest with you, though, he seems to have gone. It doesn't seem like the Canadian negotiations are going well. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, he did say something yesterday on Canada. And basically said they were impossible to negotiate with, and that they were doing it in bad faith. That's essentially what he said there. So, I think I also believe his overall approval ratings went to another all-time high this week. Is nothing crazy, but definitely his highest approval rating. So I think a lot of people, and in talking with people too, are really in agreement with some of his stances. Yeah. And I think we can't run $1 trillion deficits forever, and this is kind of bringing back a point to what you were talking about earlier. How much air was pumped into the economy in the fourth quarter specifically for the election.
Yeah, I mean
that's having a big impact on the market now.
So the Fed, by the time we post this, maybe the Fed comes out with their maybe they come out with their decision whether to lower rates or not. But I feel that the Fed is going to talk about that, and it's going to move the market today. We're broadcasting before his decision. But this is something that I've seen these crazy Twitter feeds where Trump is trying to wreck the market so that he can get lower rates because it will stimulate the housing market, which is dead. No one's buying or selling houses because no one wants a 7% mortgage rate on a 30-year mortgage. And he has vocally came out and talked about that. And then B, we are rolling over $7 trillion of debt this year, and it can't roll over. It's rolling over from essentially 0 to over 4%. He needs the Fed rate to be closer to 3, so that it's less of a blow and less of interest payments that we. So again, no one really thinks ahead like that. Maybe Trump is. Maybe he's trying to force the hand of the Fed to start lowering rates to give the simulation or not the simulation, but the visibility of hey, there's a recession, man. Hey, Jerome, why don't you lower the rates? Right. Yep. A lot of these things are posturing of maybe something that has been well thought out. Imagine that.
Yep. And this is just the AI answer when I type it into Google, but. Interest payments on the national debt are projected to reach $892 billion in 2024. I think there's projections that it's going to be over $1 trillion this year.
25.
So, 1.2 trillion is kind of sticking in my mind. like that is not sustainable. So like you can be mad at Trump if you're not a supporter of his about tariffs and cost cutting. I don't really understand why people are mad at getting out corruption.
They're burning down Teslas. If you have a Tesla right now, like
it's legit dangerous.
You're in harm's way.
Yep.
Your car's either going to get vandalized, or they're going to stop and beat you, or they're going to light it on fire.
Yeah,
like it is so extreme, man. Like, why?
Yeah, like
what did they do? What did they do to you? Like, oh, you cut off funding to.
How is it helping anyone? Yesterday there was it was like a Tesla service center. It was a giant fire. There was 9-10 cars on fire outside. It's a
wild.
Felony
to do that too, right?
I mean, hopefully these people start going to jail for a long time because it's out of hand for sure.
It's crazy, man. You see how the last 4 or 5 years have rolled out, and I feel like if the left is pissed off about something's getting destroyed. Yep. Whether it's a city or a building,
for real, man.
Or it is destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Where the right gets pissed off, they just don't buy it or go there.
Exactly.
They didn't go down to Bud Light and blow up the plant so they can stop making Bud Light. They just stop buying it.
Exactly.
Right? That's an example, right? I think Kid Rock went in his backyard and shot up a case of Bud Light with his gun. Okay, all right, dude.
But he bought the Bud Light.
But
first.
he bought it first and destroyed it. He destroyed that $25 Bud Light case. So yeah.
Mark Tepper here from SWP Investment Management. It's time to elevate your portfolio with the SWP Growth and Income ETF. A diversified basket of high-quality growth companies that pay dividends, SWP stands out from the pack because total returns matter. Don't just invest, thrive with SWP. Visit investswp.com for more information. Disclosures apply.
Again, I prepared all these stock tips for these things we were going to talk about on Liz, and they just never got to it. So you guys get to hear about it. But this is a stock picker's market. So I'm going to run through two ideas that, these are two stocks that our investment team recently bought within, I'll just say in the last week or two. But DraftKings is one of them. And the story behind them is DraftKings, you can do online betting, right? You get the app and you can live bet anything, table tennis, horses, whatever, football, baseball. But their price ran up into earnings, which was in the beginning of the year, and then got a bump after earnings, and then proceeded to sell off 30% over the last 4 weeks on no company news. They kind of got wrapped up into this AI, DeepSeek, whatever, as a technology company. Well, I mean, they are a technology company, but at the end of the day, they're a casino, right? You didn't see the casino stocks get the win taken out 30%. But DraftKings, so the reason we bought it was because it has a 30% discount in our eyes now because of it's becoming a more mature company. They've alluded to paying dividends and stock buybacks. They're more profitable because when you sign up for the app, you get a promotion saying, hey, put $100 in and we'll give you a free $100. Well, those are all rolling off, all those offers, and now they got sticky customers. And unfortunately, I hate to say it this way, it's a vice stock. You kind of prey on people's addictions to have action, right? But that's how Vegas has survived for years and years and years, right? But those promotions are rolling off on new users, and it just gains popularity. They're like you watch the Super Bowl, they're
huge. Yep,
they're just everywhere, and teams that they're support. They're backing teams, and they're just everywhere. You're being bombarded, whether you notice it or not. So we expect it to get, it peaked out at about $53. We expect it to get back there. Now, does it take 3 weeks, 3 months, or a year? I don't know that. If I knew that, we'd all be very rich. But we feel like it all based on the numbers that the company has come out and broadcast, that's where we feel that the target would be. This is a stock that I don't own personally, but the SWP does. And then Eaton. So the Eaton's a nice local Cleveland company. They produce large like power management grids for just think industrial. What's in the basement? Turning on the building, right? Big, huge, large electrical grids, right? And 25% of their business is now wrapped up in the AI data centers. They are the engine inside of these data centers, and that's 25% of Eaton's business. And again, they got wrapped up into this AI sell-off. They're down 25% from 4 weeks ago. Yet they had their investor day last week, and they said they're expecting 6 to 9% organic growth for the next 5 years, right? Annualized. And if you think about our economy, like a 3% GDP growth is a good economy, right? You know, anything around 3% is very robust. And we're looking at something that's going to grow two to three times the economy. It's more of a slow play, but it's a value play. Right. They have this. They have. It's a great exposure to industrials, which again aren't that sexy against high flying tech stocks.
Right.
But they have their niche in AI. So those are just give you some ideas. This is a stock I own through our ETF and the SM, and we own it for our clients. So thoughts, Derek?
Yeah, I think Eaton is a great company, and obviously we get exposure into that here in Northeast Ohio. But everything you just said, I think makes it a really good long-term play. So definitely like that one.
Yep.
The DraftKings. Maybe we can segue into
the March Madness.
The March Madness with the DraftKings, because it's. It seems everyone has, a DraftKings account these days, and they're talking parlays. If I'm at like a family party, talking to people I don't normally talk to, and they're like, and it's a double-edged sword, because obviously there's people who get addicted to gambling very easily, and it's a vice for them. But then there's a good chunk of their customer base who are making $5 parlays to try to turn $5 into $50 or something,
or
like
$500,
that.
like doing something ridiculous, right? But they, I would say the majority of people have a limit, right? They put $25 in and they let it ride for a week or two, or whatever their budget is, right?
Throw a little bit of money in for the Masters tournament, right? And pick a couple golfers.
Oh, that's coming up too. Can't wait.
So.
But all right, so what do we got? So we got our favorites. What are who are the favorites, Derek?
So
we got Florida.
We got Florida. I had a different odds, and it just went away. But we got Florida is the top at like plus 350.
Okay.
We got Duke right behind them at plus 360. We got Auburn at plus 400 and Houston at plus 600.
Okay. So I stopped doing brackets. But but the way to get my fix throughout the entire thing, I know one of my buddies created like Super Bowl squares, Super Bowl boxes, whatever people want to call them, but the Super Bowl squares. So they do a square game, and you get to play every game. So they have the winner and the loser. So it'd be like Eagles versus Kansas City. Well, this is the winner of every game versus the loser of every game. So the first round is worth 25. If you win, you get $25, and so does 32 other people, right? And then the next round is $50, and the next round's $150. Like they think of creative ways to disperse the money, but you're involved in every game, and you get a particular set of numbers just like you would in the Super Bowl. So that's what I'm doing. And I also put a little money on Houston.
Nice.
I think they play good defense. I don't watch a lot of basketball, so by no means is this financial advice, whether it's legit or degenerate. But it's I just watched them. I actually just caught a couple moments of every game that not every game, but like games that they played, and they're just like I believe one of the better defensive teams, and I think that can go a long way in a tournament.
Yep. Yeah, I've watched basically no college basketball at all. And like I said, we're super into it before. But I feel like it might be getting a little bit more buzz than normal this year. So yeah, I'll make a pick here. Really just because I saw it yesterday. But St. John's with oh man, I'm blanking on the coach's name now. Pitino.
Pitino, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I saw him on the media tour yesterday, and he's had some really great clips about leadership and stuff like that throughout the year that I've seen. So, I'll throw a flyer on.
What are they at, like 20 to 1 or something?
Yeah, 22 to 1.
Okay.
I was gonna take Houston too, but I'll take Alabama. Alabama. It's funny because in basketball, essentially anyone can win on any given night. So we got games in Cleveland though, right? The regionals here.
I believe so.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
You went to Robert Morris?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There you go. All right, our engineer Chris.
Yeah, Bobby Moe, nice. Yeah,
where'd you go?
Robert Morris. Yeah, Bobby Moe. It's in Pittsburgh.
All right.
Our friend Joe Yee went there.
Oh,
so
nice.
Shout out Joe. He's. I don't think he's kidding. I think he wants to stay at my house so he can go to that game on Friday. I was like, I don't know, in the middle of the week, my wife is going to like that. But he doesn't listen to this, so he'll never know. So, yeah, I'll because they're playing Robert Morris, I noticed them in the bracket. 2 seed isn't bad. So I'll take Bama and St. John's, but I will be rooting for Bobby Moe in the opening round.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, let's close it down here with the little giveaway.
Yeah, so we have a few of these mugs that we found during some spring cleaning here in the office, and there are the capitalist investor mugs. They're pretty nice. They're like a Yeti. So what we plan on doing is over the next couple weeks, because we only have like 3 or 4 of these. If you send us a question and we used it on air, we will, give a shout out to that person that sent us the question. And then, we'll send you the mug. Now, I can't tell you that we got 4 mugs and we're going to do this over 4 weeks, right? So we're going to space this out. And if don't be offended if you don't win, keep on trying, on, we'll probably give you a heads up saying, hey, we really like that topic and we're going to roll this out in the next few weeks and we'll keep you posted, or whatever it may be. But it's a way to get some swag out there again and also get us a topic that, our viewers and listeners would like to hear about.
Yep, absolutely.
So, and the best way to submit those questions or those podcast topics would be what? Info?
Yep, info at swpconnect.com.
Yep. So, submit the question through that. And, again, that's info at swpconnect.com. And take us home, D.
All right, yeah, well, thanks for listening. Like Tony said, if you want to win that mug or you got any questions, comments, ideas for the show, info at swpconnect.com is the best way to reach us. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
The opinions expressed in the podcast are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any investment, legal, financial, or tax strategy. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry. Please consult a qualified professional about your individual needs.